Okay, last time I talked to you all about working for a coach that's on the hot seat. After making that episode, I thought to myself, what about the professionals, those in player development or those who are on support staffs who watch the Player Development Pod? Thank you so much for tuning in to Beyond the Fields Player Development Pod, who don't work for a coach that is on a hot seat, but work for a coach who's wanted by many colleges, a coach that's on every single opening, every single rumor list. So I thought about it and I said, let me talk about my experience for working for college football's most wanted head coach. Hello. My name is Ed Jones. I'm a founder of Beyond the Field, where we develop people and elevate programs. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm able to talk about player development because of my experience. I'm going to tell you my experience of working for Coach Tom Herman at the University of Houston, who was the most wanted college football coach during my year or season working with him. And so we're going to dive into that because some of you all are sitting there like, yeah, I don't have a coach on the hot seat. I got a coach that everybody wants, a coach that may not be here next week. All right, so this coach let's talk about this coach. This is a coach that typically coaches at the group of 5 level, which Houston was at that time I was at Houston, or coaches at a school that may not be a blue blood in college football. And so we were in a situation where Tom Herman was at the University of Houston and he had instant success. He took them to the American Athletic Conference Championship, which they won, and then they ended up winning the Peach Bowl. Some of you all know the story. He came that February after winning the Peach Bowl, was that January after winning the Peach Bowl, and he visited my high school. I was at Hightower High School, and I was sitting there talking to him about recruits, and then he said, hey, I want to recruit you. And me and him had an immediate interview. It was crazy. I had to tell some coaches that were in there watching film, like, hey, coach, do y'all mind if coaches, I need to use this room. This is Tom Herman. He's going to interview me right now. So we had that opportunity and I was able to join the University of Houston and work for Tom Herman. Now, let me give you a little bit of background on the University of Houston. University of Houston is my alma mater, and I'm going to give you a little bit of the football background. You can find out more if you want to Google it. But Houston had a very, very successful head coach named Bill Yeoman. He had great success. He integrated, I believe, the Southwestern Conference, definitely integrated the school, or integrated one of the first integrated teams in the South. He had a lot of success with a lot of players: Warren McVay, Andre Ware, David Klinger. I don't want to miss a lot of names. Just a lot of great people, great coaches, people that I know. Some names that are coming up. Jason Phillips. Shout out to Jason Phillips. Coach Jason Phillips, but he had a lot of great players. There's so many players. And Houston had a run. I believe he was the head coach for over 2 decades at the University of Houston. And so they were used to success. I mean, Houston was rolling in the Southwestern Conference, if you all know about that. Andre Ware had won a Heisman, so there were great things happening for the program overall. I don't know if Coach Yeoman was there during those times, but the program was in really good fitting, and it was a destination place for a while for coaches. And then when the conferences changed and the Southwest Conference broke up and then the CUSA came, Conference USA, it kind of changed. And so Houston had these coaches that would come through, and then there was another coach and it was another coach. But around 2003, maybe 2004, they hired Art Browse. He had success at the University of Houston. His success led him to take the head coaching job at Baylor. Kevin Sumlin followed him. Kevin Sumlin had success. His success landed him the job at Texas A&M. And so here we were. I was already thinking in my mind as a U of H graduate, you had saw the things with Coach Herman. You're thinking like, oh man, how long is he going to be there, you know? And so when he's interviewing me, I'll never forget when he interviewed me, my high school coach was like, my head coach, he actually interviewed, he was like, we were talking and I was talking to one of the other coaches and he's like, hey man, you know that guy's going to be gone, right? And my head coach was like, yeah, he knows that. And Jones would want to go with him. So it was like funny, like everybody kind of knew that. But that's the reality of it, going into the University of Houston and knowing that if you work for Houston, those who had success at the University of Houston, they were gone. And normally to an in-state school. Art Browse to Baylor, Kevin Sumlin to Texas A&M, and of course, some of you all know Tom Herman to Texas. And so that was the reality of the situation. I love my alma mater. And people feel a way about that. It's just where it is. It's not there anymore because Houston's a part of Big 12 and Coach Fritz is doing a great job. And I think there's some more stability there for coaches to want to stay at Houston. There were just some challenges. It's tough. Not to get into all this, but it's tough. Somebody double and triple your salary. I cannot tell people what to do in that situation. All right, so now let's get to it. I got some notes here just to make sure I do not miss where I'm going. All right, so I get to University of Houston, and I'm feeling good. We hear all the rumors, but we're getting ready for the season. We had a favorable schedule, and we're on the cover. Greg Ward is on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and they're talking about us possibly being, the first Group of 5 team to get into CFP. And so they had just won the Peach Bowl. They just beat Florida State. So we had all this momentum going into the 2016 season because we started the year off with Oklahoma, who was number 3 at the time. And as a matter of fact, I need to go grab those things out of my garage. Let me go grab those. Oklahoma was the number 3 team in the nation. We played them at NRG Stadium. Hey, y'all, these are in locker rooms. Y'all know all these things they put up in locker rooms. These are actually like Velcro deals. So we had to change them for the year. So, hey, I was like, I'll take them. But anyway, we started off the season. We played Oklahoma, and they were ranked number 3 at the time. And we beat them. There's lots of videos of that on YouTube. It was a great game, one of the craziest games. The loudest I've ever heard a stadium was my guy, Brandon Wilson. Shout out to Brandon Wilson. Did the kick 6. And shout out to Coach Craig Niver, who practiced that. He was like, hey, let's practice this. I guess he had noticed that the Oklahoma kicker, when he would kick deep, he would kick short right in front of the field goal. And so we practiced that. And glad we practiced it because Brandon took it 109.5 yards back. To me, it's the longest play in college football because his foot was that close away from the back boundary line. But we ended up beating them. And so we beat them. We're on this momentum. We're like, holy smokes, we're looking at the schedule. You don't look ahead, but all these teams we've played, we've beat the year before. And so you want to get ahead of there. But of course, you hear all the rumors like, man, he is gone. Like, Coach Herman is going to be out there. I got friends hit me up like, man, hey, I hope you enjoy Houston, man, because you gone. You out of here, right? And so you're kind of like sitting there, you got all these things going on, and you're trying to just stay focused. Just stay focused, 1-0. That was our deal. And so the thing that people don't see in situations like that is like constant rumor. Like when I say Coach Tom Herman was the most wanted, any job that opened up, he was number 1 on the list. Any job that opened up. It was incredible. I've never been, first of all, I've never been around any coach. I've never been in college football, but I've never seen it where one coach is like any job, like he opened up, because it's just his plethora of working around the country, his mastery of offense, recruiting, different things like that. And so you have this constant rumor mill like all year long, right? And then what other people don't see too is like players, they want clarity. So as we kept winning, we ended up getting the number top 10 in the country. I think we were high as number 6 in the country. And so as every win, you got this. Every win, people are talking. People are, oh yeah. And as you win, as we were winning in Houston, some of these programs weren't winning. And so you're sitting there, you're like, dang, like this stuff is starting to become a little distraction, but the players just want clarity, right? Parents want clarity. They want clarity. They want to know what's going on. Parents want clarity. You got parents, we're meeting with them. Parents are looking, parents are asking, parents want to know things because all they hear, it doesn't matter. Like it's back in the day, it used to be the newspaper. Now it's everywhere. They want clarity. And then you have staff starting to see things, right? Staff positioning, staff renting out places instead of owning places, right? So you start to figure things out and you're just like, man, this is crazy. But at the end of the day, we got to keep winning. So we continue to win. We're having a good season. We had a couple lapses there, but it was still hot and heavy for Coach Herman. So what that does to a culture. So when you have a coach that is that wanted, what does it do to a culture, you may ask? Trust is weighed heavy. So like the trust, you have people that are literally wanting to understand, like trust, your word means so much more from a support staff member to a coach to like everybody's word means so much more because trust is weighed because you're hearing all this stuff on the outside. So you have to strengthen the trust on the inside. The focus becomes so much harder. It becomes so much harder to focus because, like I said, as we're winning, we're celebrating wins. And as we're winning, these programs have coaches that are losing. And you got all the fan boards and they're tagging players and all this stuff or jumping. We would win a game and we'd have it on Twitter like, hey, the Cougars beat, Cougars beat Lamar. We ended up beating Lamar and some other teams. Underneath it, it'd be like, oh, where's he going next? And it'll be all the fans of this university. So focus becomes tough. Recruiting, oh my goodness. Recruiting was so hard. And some of you all are sitting there, your coach, He's on everybody's big board, and you understand that recruiting is hard. Recruiting was so hard because it was your commits. You have other schools telling your commits, he ain't staying, he going. He's going here, he's going to Texas, he's going to LSU, he's going to this school, he's going to South Carolina, he's going to Miami. It was just so much stuff. You had all these people telling the commits, and so you're trying to tell the commits to commit. And we're saying it. I mean, we're sticking what we're sticking with. Nothing was signed, so we're like, hey, you're committing to a city, to a university, right? And I know they commit to a coach. I'm not being idiotic here, but you are trying to do something. It's like, hey, coach is still here as much as I know, but recruiting became tough. Commits were like, hey, and some of the commits were like, well, if I commit with him here, maybe he'll take me there. It's just like this game you had to play because you had to talk to their high school coaches. The high school coaches, you're talking to them, and Texas is a lot different than other states. You have to communicate with the high school coaches when it comes to recruiting. So you're talking to high school coach is like, hey, are y'all going to be there? Is he leaving? Like, what's going to happen? And so recruiting just became tough. Like game days on recruiting was always tough. You could see the parents kind of talking to each other. You could see high school coaches seeing stuff. It was just, you didn't want to have them too early in the stadium with the fans because fans would be talking, and it's just like, man, you're just trying to keep this class together as these other schools are like, trying to poach as well. But that recruiting, that was, man, that was tough. And then wins and getting ranked just brought chaos. Because we were trying to get the CFP, right? So you have the CFP communication, whatever, and we had opportunity that year. We were looking to get into Big 12. And so it was an opportunity for us to get into Big 12. We beat the best team in the Big 12, so I kind of knew we were going to get into Big 12 because Oklahoma won the Big 12. I think they had a crazy run on Big 12 championships, and we beat the best team in the Big 12 first game of the year. And so we had a lot of rumors of like CFP and us getting into Big 12, and so that didn't happen. I was kind of like, oh, if we win, I don't think that's going to happen. So we want to win that game. So anyway, they're in the Big 12 now, so it's all good. But you had this possible CFP chance. You have every time you win, you're ranked, and they're just like, is Houston going to make it? Is Houston going to make it? Then you watch College Game Day, and they're like, well, Tom Herman's not going to be there because he's going to be at blah, 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 blah. You're just like, man, like every win was absolute chaos. And some of the losses too, which I'll talk about as well. But I will say this about Coach Herman. Coach Herman did a really good job of addressing the team. And so I thought personally, and in most situations, he did an incredible job of addressing it with the team. Like, hey, I haven't talked to anyone. I haven't talked to this school, whatever it may be. He knew everybody was hearing it. Everybody was hearing it, So he would address it after practice. One time he did after practice, after a walkthrough, in a team meeting for sure. And so he addressed it with the team. He kept us focused internal. So the focus was 1-0. 1-0, 1-0. And that was something that was already built into it. So out of all this chaos, one thing I learned from him is he stayed very, very organic in his messaging. Like, hey, let's stay 1-0. We got to do this. We got to beat this. Our biggest opponent is the opponent coming up, right? And I understand that. He was open with the staff too. He was open with the staff. We would have staff meetings, and he would, let us know, like, hey, guys, and this is what's happening. You're hearing this. I get it, but let's just focus on the wins. Let's focus on the wins. And I appreciate it. I don't, that was my first time seeing something like that, but I appreciated that he would have just addressed it. Like, we don't want to sit here like this big elephant in the room. It's like not making noises, right? And so I appreciate him for addressing that. And I personally saw it. I think for me, I could see it was a tough situation for him to be in. It was a tough situation for him to be in because he wanted to coach. From my angle of it, he wanted to coach. He wanted to be there. He wanted to win. He knew every single time we won, it was going to happen. And that was just a reality of winning. That's the reality of winning at the University of Houston. I told you all earlier, if you win at Houston, you're going to be going in previous before they got in the Big 12. If you win, if you get a conference championship game, right, you're gone. Art Browse won a conference championship, out of there. Kevin Sumlin played for a conference championship, out of there. Tom Herman won a conference championship, out of there, right? And so it was this reality, and I thought it was pretty tough for him to be in. He had to answer a lot of questions in recruiting. I thought he did a good job of answering because it put a lot of people were in tough situations. It wasn't just coach. It was, people like, other staff members, people who had just moved down and things like that. They just wanted to know what was going on. But I felt personally, for what he could say, that I thought he did a good job of being open with the staff on that. I think I may have had one more situation where a coach possibly was being looked at another university. They kept it close to the chest, but it didn't materialize out because we weren't winning. But yeah, it was a tough situation for him to be in. And now talk about the moments when I knew it was going to happen. Like when I kind of figured like, all right, he's out of here, right? It was like I said, I respect him for being open, And I just always thought to myself, like, I was like, you know what? These are some nice, the rumors were Texas, LSU, and even the Memphis game. So this is Thanksgiving 2016. We're sitting in a hotel room eating Thanksgiving dinner. And literally, while our guys all in there, on the screen, it says, Tom Herman has agreed to become the head coach at LSU. And like now my phone's ringing. I gotta act like I don't know what's going on. I got play. We're in the middle of a Connect Four, maybe Domino's. And players like, "Hey, you going too? Are you going too?" And I'm like, "What you mean?" So I check my phone. I see the ESPN alert. I'm like, "Oh man." So we're sitting there, and like one of the players kind of like really, "Hey man, are you going too? Is he out of here?" So I had to bring him to outside. Say, "Hey man, look, I just got the same alert you got. I don't know what's going on." But I could tell there was a lot of heat. That was towards the end of the season, the Memphis game, and that was just a chaotic. Yeah, it was just a chaotic time. I think he was there. He didn't hide. He literally was sitting in the room when the announcement came and just kept going as usual. I mean, I commend him on that. He was looking at the screen like he didn't know who Tom Herman was. But it was that, and the game came, and there was a lot in the game, and it was crazy. We ended up losing that game to Memphis, which is a pivotal game. I don't know if it would have got us in the conference championship because Navy was really good that year, and they beat us, and I don't think they lost on our side of the division. But it was a pivotal game. We ended up losing it, and I just remember thinking, like, they had all these reports, and you could kind of see how the players were. It was reports, it was reporters. We had a lot of people outside our locker room. ESPN, had a lot of stuff there. A lot of you all could see the Cole Kubelik, I think, interview before we got in the locker room. It was a lot going on there. And so that night, we got back home that Friday night, and that Friday night was when Texas lost to Kansas on a field goal in Lawrence. And I remember thinking, oh, this is going to get real, right? Coach Herman had been a GA for Greg Davis at Texas, and I'm sitting there like, oh, no, and then this is when I'm kind of talking to people on staff. We're just like, all right, man, did you see that? Like, what are you thinking? Because we're all trying to figure out the situation, right? We all have goals ourselves. And so it was crazy how that happened. And I'm thinking, yeah, man, I remember thinking, I told my wife when Texas lost, I was like, I knew they were going to move on from Charlie Strong. And I was like, yeah, I think Herman's going to get that Texas job. And so that was Friday night. Once again, my friends are calling me. I got high school coaches like, hey, man, congratulations. You going to Austin? And so I'm just trying to, like, once again, I got players texting. So I'm trying to be as level-headed as possible in a situation where I'm trying to figure out stuff as well. And so Saturday came, and we got a text message as a staff to come in at, I think, around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm not coming in at 11 o'clock. I'm coming in now. So, like, I literally got all my stuff, got dressed, headed to the office. And I saw some things that confirmed a lot of things that this was about to happen. Like, that was going to happen and this is going to happen. So it was one of those deals where you're like, okay, cool. We know what this is. And so the whole team came and, Coach addressed the team. He addressed the team. He did get a chance to address the team. And he told them the situation and told the team he was headed to Texas. And, it was tough. It was tough for the guys and to hear that. And I think, it was tough. It was really, really tough. I think the older guys had seen it coming. I think they handled it better. The younger guys, it hurt them. It hit them really, really hard. And in having a conversation with younger guys, I just asked them, like, what is it? What is it? They were like, man, I really wish, like, we would have known, like, that this was a possibility. And it's tough. These kids are 17, 18 years old, and they hear it, and they just don't think it's going to happen. And so that's when you teach them about the business of life and the business of, like, I asked, and then I wasn't trying to not hear them, but I said, hey, you all, like, if y'all got a University of Texas athletic scholarship, would you be at the University of Houston, and just kind of trying to help them understand, not making it right or wrong, but help them at least understand. And I remember it was that Saturday because of my the Michigan-Ohio State game was on, and they had that controversial fourth and one call. But I remember sitting there with players. I sat down with the class I came with, the signing class, the number one class we signed at the University of Houston at the time. And it was just like shock and just really pain. It was like an aspect of pain. From the fans, there was anger, of course. They've seen it before. Like I said, Coach Art Browse, Coach Kevin Sumlin, now Coach Tom Herman. So there was that aspect of that. It was just, it was a very, very quiet room. We had a couple of our leaders address the team. We had, a couple more games. We had a bowl game, but seeing our leaders address the team and how they went about it, I think I give big kudos to our seniors, our captains, leadership council. They did a really good job of keeping that team together, because it was a lot. I mean, not only did you have that going on, but like it was, you had the aftermath. Yeah, staff leaving, right? Like staff is literally leaving. So there were some staff that went immediately, right? So they're not there. And as time went on, you start like staff are going, like they're going. I literally, y'all, got a $10,000 raise. A $10,000 raise because I was walking out the back of the our facility, and I finally cleaned my room, and I got a $10,000 raise because I'm walking out the back. I cleaned my office first time. So when I moved down, I cleaned off. So I had all this stuff. I had a big duffel bag, and so I'm walking out with a duffel bag, and Coach Applewhite, Major Applewhite, looks at me and says, "Hey Ed, did Tom call you?" I'm like, "No, Tom hadn't hit me up." Whatever it may be. And the next day I get called in office. I'm like, "Hey, we're going to give you a raise." I'm like, "Sweet." Like, so it was just chaotic. People were leaving. There were people that were saying that they were going to stay and then leave. I learned that lesson. Don't communicate. Transition. Don't communicate anything. Don't say anything. Just say, "I don't know. I don't know. I'm just here for today." Players are hearing rumors of new coaches. We had coaches reaching out to our staff. Like it was just crazy. That whole week and a half after that was like, wow. Some players still, they needed help. We had to get them with some counselors, different things like that. Cause some of these players, the first time something like this had ever happened, where it was just such a sudden change, and the person they had looked up to, their leader, was gone. Right. And so it was a lot. There were some staff members, were gone. Some wanted to be gone and weren't gone. You kind of see people positioning once again. That was, like I said in the Coaches on the Hot Seat, that's something that happens. You get some positioning that happens, things like that. Our biggest focus though was in the aftermath. And so the aftermath was crazy. I did get to see Coach Herman before he left. He dapped me up and was like, "Hey Ed, I appreciate you. You did an incredible job." And I saw him a couple years. I see him like every other year, certain things. And so we're still good. Hopefully we'll still be good at the podcast, Coach. I ain't dropped too much. No, but I think the one thing if I could have went back, what I would have done is I would have let him know that I was open to going to the University of Texas with him. Like, now I love my alma mater, all right, and Cougs, don't get on me, but there are certain things professionally that you want to get done, and working at the University of Texas would have been an incredible opportunity for me and my family. And so I wish I would have, when he was there, I was with him, because I thought, I had his number, I was going to text him, but it's just, man, when coaches go to a new school, we got to get all this stuff down and get all this stuff, and it's so much, right? And I had opportunity. We chopped it up probably for a minute and a half, and I wish I would have. I thought he was just going to bring me with him, right? And the other reason is because I had people calling me, telling me, "Hey, you're going to Austin. I heard you going to UT. I heard you bringing it to UT." So I'm thinking, all right, cool. But any advice to anybody, if you like the coach you're working for, you want to keep working with that coach, you got to let them know if you get a chance. So hindsight, I wish I would have said it. It all worked out. The University of Houston, very thankful for Major Applewhite and the opportunity he gave me, because Coach Applewhite gave me a great opportunity. I always think about that was an opportunity. It could have been yes or no. I think in life, I get to these moments where I kind of they're going to make their decision, and I'm learning now. You got to closed mouths don't get fed, and questions asked don't get answered. So I could have got either one. It all worked out, but I always think about that. And I tell people that, they're like, "What would you do differently?" I was like, I would have let them know, "Hey, I'll come to the 40 acres with you," So yeah, that was that. So it was a lot of craziness with that aftermath and how that went about. I mean, you had to get off Twitter. I mean, I had people hitting me up. People felt, boosters were frustrated, alumni were frustrated, former players were frustrated. It was a lot. It was tough. That is always tough. I've seen it's tough how every coach handles it. I've seen some coaches do it, how they do it. That's just such a tough situation to walk through. Because you don't know everything, right? You may want to be there, and then you see something, they're able to pay you something that'll change your life, And at the end of the day, I'm responsible for me and my family. So if I see something that can change my life, hey, we'll have to go those ways. But yeah, that was that. Let me take a break right there. Let me take a break, man. Think about all that. Now, you may be sitting here saying all right, you're telling us all this stuff. What was your role on the staff? Well, I was director of player development. Player development is the enhancement of the athlete experience through holistic and intentional programs and initiatives. And we're having a 2026 Player Development Summit in Detroit. Let's go. The dates will be coming soon, but if you want to partner, if you want to sponsor, if you want to bring your dollars to this event, to get in front of people like myself, people in the NFL, the NBA, college football, college athletics, the WNBA, the MLS, MLB, if you want to get in front of people who serve athletes, this is the place you need to be and the place you need to sponsor. All that information is in the show notes. All right, so now that we're talking about player development and role I was in, how do you support? How do you support from the player development role? Number one, I think you got to stabilize the team's emotions. There's a lot of emotions. There were a lot of emotions there. Players, like I said, some understood it, some didn't. Some were resentful, some weren't. Some were excited for a new start, some weren't. And so you have to stabilize a lot of emotions, and you're near the end of the semester. So you got to stabilize emotions because those academics are coming, right? And Coach Todd Orlando was our interim coach for about a week. And I remember he came to my office and he was like, hey, Ed, I was supposed to go on the road and recruit because I passed my recruiting test and most of our coaches had left to go to Texas. And he was like, hey, Ed, I need you to, I don't want you to go on the road recruit. Help these guys with their academics. They need to be focused. And he was right. They need to be focused so that they can be eligible for the bowl game. And so you have to stabilize emotions. You have to make sure that they understand, hey, you still have things that are being asked of you. You're still being asked to go to class. You're still being asked to lift. Like, there is still a coach here. It's not the coach we had at the beginning of the season, but we still have a coach. We still have a strength staff. We still have a sports med staff. We still have academics. We still have coaches. We still have GAs. We have player development. We have everything. So you still need to get that done. Then you got to help parents. There's a lot of calls from parents. I talked about that in the hot seat one, but a lot of parents are calling. Hey, what's going on? Like, where are you? Are you going? Like, you know, and you have to say, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I just know I have a job here at the University of Houston right now. I'm here to help your son. So there's a lot of questions. They want to find out a lot, and I would only give whatever pertained to their student. Hey, is so-and-so coach leaving? I heard he's going. I heard this person. I heard this is going to be the new coach. Once again, I don't know any of that stuff. All I know is your son has a final on Monday and he better be prepared. And so you have to help parents. And a lot of it was just listening to parents, There were some frustrations there. I think there were some parents that understood it as well. They wanted some truth there as well. I think it can be a very, very tough thing to do in that situation. I don't know how, I do not know how I would have handled it. So you have to help parents there as well. And then you got to maintain focus on the season. We have one more game to play. We had a bowl game. We had an opportunity to send our seniors out with another bowl win. And so that's the focus. Like, hey, young guys, I know you get a hey seniors. I know, this is a reality for you to end your season, but we got to get it. We got to go win this game. We have to go win this game. And so it was one of those deals where you got to maintain focus on the season. And we knew after the bowl game, we had to get the recruiting class, right? I'll come back and talk about recruiting and how that was after that. But you want to make sure you handle it well, because there's the thing is those seniors, you need to focus on their academics and their game, because their game is the last game the scouts are coming to. Like, this bowl game that's your last tape before the NFL. So like, let's focus. We can't control what happened. That's out of our control. Head coach moving on, there's nothing you can do. All right. And you could be, you all were responsible for the opportunity. You guys won games. So if that coach can move on, let's end your season so you can move on to a better, greener pastures as well, if you see it that way. And then we had to help the young ones stay focused. The young ones is tough. It's so tough for them. And so I know I talked a lot. I know sometimes I feel like I ramble on these episodes. So I'm gonna give you some actionable steps before my battery dies out on this camera. So here's how you can support your team in the role of player development, right? I talked about like how to support. Here's some actionable steps. Here we go. Number one, stay consistent with messaging. This is what it is. Coach is gone. We understand that. We understand how you feel. It's Tuesday. We have a practice today. You have study hall. We're going to stay consistent with our schedule and how we do things. With that, number two, nothing's off the table. I had some closed door opportunities for kids to come in and listen. And most of the time it's me listening, letting them get it off their chest because they don't know which adults to talk to. And thankfully they trusted me. And so they would come in and get things off their chest and say, hey, Ed, I need to talk to you about this. Yeah, come on. Number three, be present. A lot of people stay in their offices. Like, they're trying to figure it out. And I'm not mad at those staff members, right? They're trying to figure out, are they going, are they leaving? You have to be present. Like, making sure they see you at breakfast, making sure they see you at the lift, making sure they see you at practice, right? Making sure they see you around campus, around the facility. Be present. They need to see you there. Number 4, prepare for anything. And I mean anything. Prepare for anything. And so we had a situation where Coach Todd Orlando was our interim coach. And then literally right after that, I think a week later, Coach Major Applewhite became our head coach. So our defensive coordinator was our interim, and then the offensive coordinator became the head coach. So we had to prepare for anything. That was a switch. We had to, like, those kids went through 3 head coaches in 3 weeks. I think 16 days, something like that, right? So you had to prepare for anything. This change, okay, this change is how every coach does it. Changes. You have to be prepared for anything. You have to be prepared for parents. You got to be prepared for students possibly, transferring. You have to literally prepare for anything. You got to be prepared for people in media, like being around, or like you going to eat on campus and you seeing people watching you talk. Like, you got to prepare for anything and everything. And then the last one right there is just help them finish strong. Help these players finish strong. I mentioned it earlier about their academics, the bowl game. Help them finish strong. That is what's needed. And once again, those ways are, number 1, stay consistent with messaging. Number 2, nothing's off the table. Number 3, be present. Number 4, prepare for anything. Number 5, help them finish strong. Closing statement here, like, focus on the athletes. You're there for them. This whole deal I went through and our team program went through it's a lot of learning. Like, it was pretty cool because we were winning. We were winning big games. That doesn't happen if you don't win big games. But at the end of the day, no matter what, you're there for the players. Like, I was looking out for myself too. Like, am I going to get hired? Like, thankfully, I'll never forget when I called Coach Major Applewhite when he got the job. I was like, hey, Coach, man, congratulations, because I knew him and I just wanted to tell him congratulations. I didn't know what was going to happen with me. And he was like, I want you to stay on the staff. I was like, thank God. So I had a job, but even in that not knowing, I was at the DMV with players, right? I'm at the DMV calling him. I'm there with players, helping players get license plates before we go to a bowl game. And so, not driver's license, before we go to a bowl game. And so you got to be present for them. You have to be there for them. Now, here's some comparisons from the hot seat to being with a coach who wants that. I talked about being in a hot seat here. Hot seat creates fear. There's a lot of fear around a program when there's hot seat. A coach that's wanted creates distraction and instability. Hot seat rumors hurt your team morale. So you're hearing this, man, the coach is going to get let go, the staff's going to get let go. It hurts the team morale. And then when your coach is wanted, it can ruin the focus. Those rumors can ruin focus. I've seen both. I've seen a coach on a hot seat. I've seen a coach that was the most wanted college football coach. And yeah, it's a lot. I haven't unhashed some of that stuff in a long, long time. But yeah, it was, I understand it. I do. I understand the decision Coach Tom Herman made. I get it. I understand how our players felt. I understand it from every angle. I was trying to understand and have empathy in every situation to understand what people are going through. So hopefully that helps you all that are in a player development role, you all who may be in a support staff role, and your coach is on every single job list. And it happens. It happens. That means, number 1, something's happening good with your program. And number 2, people want what's going on in your program, and you have a part to play in that. So that's today's podcast episode. Ooh, man, that's talking about the hot seat and a coach that's always wanted. That's a lot. But this week we're going to end with a mega coach transition. What happens through the entire transition of coaches moving on and things happening? It's a lot. These 2 were teaser episodes. We're going to dive into a lot of different things, how you can support coaches, what it's like to get terminated, preparing for interview and things like that. Now, as I always say, go out and create generational impact. Don't wait, create that generational impact. Today, you get your copy of my book, The Player Development Guide. Yes, this is from my time at the University of Houston, University of Kansas, and Baylor University, serving in a player development role. Hey, if you did not see the hot seat video already, it is right here. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm an open book, y'all. I want to make sure that you get practical help and practical stories to help you in the role as you develop athletes. Have a good one.